Hello, thinkers. I'm Carlos Alberto. Welcome back to our channel. Today, on Stoic Geopolitics, we are going to analyze in depth and with serenity a question that resonates strongly throughout Latin America. Why is Argentina achieving concrete progress that Venezuela has yet to attain, despite both countries having similar or even superior natural resources in many respects? We are not here to embrace any leader or demonize anyone. We are here to observe with stoic clarity the inevitable swing of history's pendulum and to extract practical and useful lessons for the present and future of our peoples. Argentina and Venezuela share a history full of paradoxes and missed opportunities. In past decades, both were notable examples of relative prosperity in the region. Both possessed enormous natural resources, an educated population, human talent, and evident potential. However, for years, both countries experienced models based on strong state intervention, high public spending, price controls, uncontrolled monetary expansion, and a constant ideological confrontation that ultimately eroded institutions, destroyed social trust, and generated immense suffering. In both cases, the pendulum of history had reached a dangerous and highly unstable extreme. In Argentina, this extreme generated such a profound, painful, and prolonged crisis that it finally provoked a powerful and visible internal reaction. Javier Milei also came to power thanks to the accumulated failures of the previous model. From the perspective of collective psychology, we can better understand this process. When a system exhausts all its possibilities and generates massive suffering, society goes through collective defense mechanisms similar to those described by Freud at the individual level, but with characteristics specific to the group. First comes collective denial. This isn't so bad. The problem is just temporary. Then mass projection, always blaming external factors, the empire, the right wing, the IMF. Rationalization. We need more time. With more resources, everything would be fixed. And when the pain becomes unbearable, a collective search for lifelines emerges, generally opposing and sometimes more radicalized solutions. It is at this critical point that collective psychology changes face. Society stops defending the failed model tooth and nail and begins to look for a way out, however painful it may be. The pendulum doesn't swing solely according to impersonal laws. It swings because collective psychology reaches a point of emotional saturation and psychological breakdown. In Venezuela, although the suffering has been even greater and more prolonged, the process of collective psychological breakdown has progressed more slowly. This occurred because the regime seized total control of the state, neutralizing all the checks and balances established by democratic constitutions. The Chavista regime, which for more than 25 years presented itself to the world as a democratic and revolutionary system, was left in a very bad position with the international community. Previous U.S. administrations had already demanded that Nicolás Maduro hold elections in a fully democratic and transparent manner. According to multiple observers, this promise was not kept. This led to profound institutional deterioration, a loss of legitimacy, and progressive isolation. Herein lies a fundamental difference between the two countries. In Argentina, despite all the errors and excesses of the previous model, the people were able to express themselves freely during elections. Democratic systems, when they function well, have checks and balances that allow discontent to be channeled and peaceful changes to be brought about. The Argentine people were able to express their rejection at the ballot box and bring about a shift. That is tremendously important. When a people are prevented from expressing themselves electorally, they become a subjugated people, and the collective pain becomes much more intense, profound, and prolonged because they find no institutional outlet. In Venezuela, the lack of proper functioning of these democratic checks and balances has caused the pendulum to swing more slowly and painfully. However, the internal fracturing of the Chavista regime and external pressure, due in part to its links with drug trafficking, have created a truly historic window of opportunity. This is the precise moment for the people to make their presence felt with clarity, maturity, and firmness. This is not about violent confrontation, but about intelligently and persistently demanding a minimum of stability and security that will allow progress toward free, transparent, and fully auditable elections. The Venezuelan people have the opportunity to organize themselves civically, strengthen civil society, demand transparency in institutions, reject everyday corruption, and pressure leaders to truly engage in dialogue with the people and address their concrete demands: food security, access to basic services, freedom of expression, genuine electoral guarantees, and a minimum of stability that allows for the reconstruction of the country's social and economic fabric. Cuba is already doing this despite the repression. Venezuela can and must do it too. The central Stoic lesson is clear and powerful. External changes only become real progress when they coincide with strong internal action by the people. The pendulum swings open, but it is the people who must cross the threshold with determination, unity, and a long-term vision. Venezuela possesses enormous objective advantages: the world's largest oil reserves, a privileged geostrategic location, a diaspora brimming with talent, and a population that has already experienced firsthand the high cost of extremes. The window is open. Now it's up to the Venezuelan people to decide whether they merely watch the pendulum swing or whether they finally take center stage and step through the door that history has opened for them. Thinkers, the pendulum of history neither forgives nor punishes. It simply swings, and in interpreting its movements, it points to the moments when certain doors can open. The future of Venezuela will not be written by Washington, nor Beijing, nor any self-proclaimed savior. It will be written by every Venezuelan who decides to move from being a victim of the pendulum to a conscious protagonist of its movement. Because in the end, true sovereignty doesn't consist of shouting against the wind. It consists of learning to navigate it with virtue, wisdom, and unwavering determination. That, my friends, is the great practical lesson of Stoic Geopolitics. I want to read your comments carefully. Do you think the Venezuelan people are ready to take a real leading role in this historical window? What concrete action do you think the people should take today to take advantage of this opportunity wisely? Finally, what do you think about the renewal process in Argentina initiated by Javier Milei? If you enjoyed this insightful and unbiased analysis, please like, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications. Thinking well leads to a better life. May virtue, clarity, and wisdom be with you as you decide how to swing your own pendulum. Big hugs to all. See you soon.